Good morning and welcome to morning prayer on this Wednesday, the 29th of April. And I hope you've had a good night and woken to a nice sunnyish day today. And we're continuing to think about how to pray and focusing on the Lord's Prayer again this morning. So let's begin as we always do, just to pause, to be still for a few minutes, to breathe slowly and to recenter our scattered senses upon the presence of God. Let's pause to be still. Lord, as we draw near to you, would you draw near to us? Teach us to pray. Speak, Lord, your servant is listening. May I know you more clearly, love you more dearly, and follow you more nearly this day. Amen. And so we choose to rejoice in God's protection, joining with the ancient praise of God's people in words from Psalm 5, reading verses 11 and 12. But let all who take refuge in you rejoice. Let them sing joyful praises forever. Spread your protection over them, that all who love your name may be filled with joy. For you bless the godly, O Lord. You surround them with your shield of love. As Jesus teaches his disciples about prayer, he tells them what to avoid and what to adopt. And today we reflect on Jesus' teaching from Matthew chapter 6 and reading verses 5 to 9. And when you pray, do not be like the hypocrites, for they love to pray standing in the synagogues and on the street corners to be seen by others. Truly, I tell you, they have received their reward in full. But when you pray, go into your room, close the door, and pray to your Father who is unseen. Then your Father who sees what is done in secret will reward you. And when you pray, do not keep on babbling like pagans, for they think that they will be heard because of their many words. Do not be like them, for your Father knows what you need before you ask him. This then is how you should pray. Our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name. In this passage, Jesus is warning his disciples to be careful not to copy the pattern of other people's prayer lives. Best not model after hypocrites and pagans, he said. Instead, he exhorts them to keep their prayer lives simple. In his book, How to Pray, Pete Greig says, God invites you to pray simply, directly, and truthfully in the full and wonderful weirdness of the way he's actually made you. Take a walk in the rain, write prayers on the soles of your shoes, sing the blues, rap, write Petrarchan sonnets, sit in silence in a forest, go for a run until you sense God's smile. I don't know if you've ever tried any of those. Maybe that's something for you to take on board today. But it's a wonderful thought, isn't it, to think about the ways that God has made us as individuals. I read a book some years ago about praying your personality. Again, there's that idea that God has made us as we are, and that we should celebrate how God has made us, and use our personality and our particular gifts and weirdness, as Pete calls it here, to help us in our prayer. So let's come to prayer now. And in the quiet, just to think about how God has weirdly and wonderfully made us? What is my own unique way of speaking with God? God, would you show me how I can authentically express my true self, my real self, to you in prayer today? Let's pause and pray. So perhaps there's one thing that we can decide with the Lord now that we will do today to express who we are in prayer. And Lord God, I pray for the church in this season, as so many of the external trappings and structures of our religious life are removed. May we realize and actualize the simplicity of just being with you, just loving you and being loved by you. Even though our church buildings are empty, may our hearts be full of praise and of your presence. Let's pause and pray. And as we return to the passage, let's open our ears, Lord, to hear your word and our hearts to yield to your will once again. And when you pray, do not be like the hypocrites, for they love to pray standing in the synagogues and on the street corners to be seen by others. Truly, I tell you, they have received their reward in full. But when you pray, go into your room, close the door, and pray to your Father who is unseen. Then your Father who sees what is done in secret will reward you. And when you pray, do not keep on babbling like pagans, for they think they will be heard because of their many words. Do not be like them, for your Father knows what you need before you ask him. This then is how you should pray. Our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name. Pete goes on to say in his book, there are very few rules for Christians when it comes to prayer. Yes, of course we can pray in the shower or while driving our cars. We're not required to close our eyes or adopt a particular posture, to dress in a certain way, to wash ourselves ritually, or to use a fixed form of words simply to be heard by God. Some of these things can on occasions be helpful, as we shall see later, but the writer of Hebrews is clear that God's presence is freely available to us at any time, in any place, through Jesus. And so to a prayer of yielding. God, as I come into your presence, I choose to keep it simple. I yield to your unforced rhythm of grace. I yield to your easy yoke. I will walk with you and talk to you freely and lightly. God, I thank you for your promise in Luke 12, verse 32. I do not need to be afraid. It is your good pleasure to give me the kingdom. And so, our closing prayer. Father, help me to live this day to the full, being true to you in every way. Jesus, help me to give myself away to others, being kind to everyone I meet. Spirit, help me to love the lost, proclaiming Christ in all I do and say. Amen. So the Lord bless you, and may you have fun being as weird as you may be as you explore praying your personality today. And if you want to let me know any of these weird things you've been up to, it'll be fun to read. Have a good day until the next time.